Over the weekend, the president floated the idea of 50-year mortgages. That's right. You can borrow money to purchase a house, but you won't pay it off for 5 decades. And with the median age of a first-time homebuyer at 40 years old right now, you wouldn't be paying your home off until you're 90. 90 years old. Most of us will not even live to be 90 years old. And in order to understand 50-year mortgages, we first need to lay out the problem flat and clear. The problem is housing is unaffordable, especially for young Americans and especially for middle to lower income earners. Like I said, the median age of a first time homebuyer is 40 years old today. Back in 2000, it was 30 years old. So that's an entire decade added to when the median person becomes a first time home buyer. And this is, of course, a problem, right? Purchasing a home, for a long time, it's been dubbed the American dream, and it's viewed as a key component to starting a family. Now, you don't have to buy a home to start a family, but it does give a certain level of comfort and security. If you have children, you don't necessarily want to be moving every year or every 2 years, constantly renting and having to uproot your entire life basically and go somewhere else. So buying a home allows you to lay those roots, dig a deep foundation, and really start to build your life in a more steadfast way. So I understand the tangible and lifestyle benefits to purchasing a home, but when we break things down financially, it doesn't necessarily make a whole lot of sense, especially in the current environment where interest rates are. And so to steelman the 50-year mortgage, that's the immediate sort of band-aid over a bullet hole solution that Trump is offering here. If you borrow, let's say, $500,000 and you pay it off over 50 years instead of 30 years, your monthly payment is going to be lower. And so this provides somewhat of immediate relief to those looking to enter the market. When mortgage brokers decide how much of a mortgage you may qualify for, they're looking at things like the debt to income ratio, the debt to asset ratio. And so if your mortgage payment, the monthly payment can be lower by borrowing over a longer period of time, you may immediately qualify for a better house, for more money to borrow with. And so there can be somewhat of an immediate relief to the problem, but it really fails to address the root of the issue, currency debasement. And this really is the core issue. People love to point to the fact that BlackRock and State Street and all of these asset managers are just scooping up single family homes. Now, you might put on your tinfoil hat and say they're doing this maliciously. Larry Fink and Klaus Schwab and those guys are sitting at their ivory tower, evilly thinking of how they can destroy the family. And that's why they're buying up all these single family homes. But I think the answer is actually far more simple and less conspiratorial than that. And it's simply a matter of currency debasement. They know that they cannot hold dollars because dollars lose value over time. And so what wise investors do is they purchase hard assets. They purchase things that cannot easily be produced. Dollars can be printed infinitely, houses cannot, land cannot, equities cannot, gold cannot, Bitcoin cannot. And so this idea of investors buying real estate not to live in, not because they want or can even live in 5 houses at one time, or 100 houses, or 500, depending on the size of the investor. Obviously, they can't live in multiple different places at one time. They're simply doing it because the currency is getting debased and they're intelligent enough to understand, hey, if I buy this thing that can't be easily produced, it's going to increase in value relative to the currency. But it's not even just the large asset managers that do this. I know plenty of smaller, call them mom and pop type landlords that own, you know, half a dozen to a dozen different single family homes and they rent them out for income. Is this evil? Is this malicious? I don't think so. They're simply following the incentives that are created when you devalue the currency. Now, the unfortunate implication of this is that younger people who are entering the housing market and the job market for the first time, their barrier to entry continues to rise and rise and rise and rise because the older folks and the wiser folks, the folks with more capital, they are purchasing up that inventory. making the barrier to entry for the real estate market much higher. Now, as you know, this is a Bitcoin channel. Bitcoin fixes this. Why? Because one, it is an asset with a truly finite supply. You can build more buildings and you can produce more companies, you can dig more gold, you can produce all sorts of more goods and services, but you cannot increase the supply of Bitcoin beyond 21 million. And the result of this is that Bitcoin has outperformed every real estate investor of the past decade, hands down. And so, as real estate investors become aware of this fact, they have begun to sell their additional properties. Instead of owning 6 single family homes, they might own 2 single family homes and then throw the rest in Bitcoin. Because with Bitcoin, they get better returns with less headache. You don't have to be a landlord. You don't have to change toilets and maintenance and deal with tenants and all these different headaches, taking out the trash, whatever. Nobody actually wants to be a landlord. People just want to earn value and keep the value that they've already earned without losing it to inflation. And so Bitcoin offers a superior product product for that. It has higher returns, less headache, and it's not subject to different jurisdictions, right? If you have real estate, let's say in New York, and they just elected a socialist or a communist as mayor, and everyone's fleeing the city, well, the value of your real estate might decline where you thought it was going to go up instead. And so Bitcoin's not subject to the kind of same external or third party risks that real estate may be. Bitcoin can't get wiped out by a hurricane or a tornado or an earthquake, right? And more importantly, Bitcoin is infinitely divisible. So I mentioned earlier that real estate has a higher barrier to entry. It's difficult for many young people to even come up with enough to put a 20% down payment or a 10% down payment, but you can buy any amount of Bitcoin. You could buy $5 worth of Bitcoin. You could buy $500 million worth of Bitcoin. It's an incredibly liquid and divisible market. No matter what scale you're trying to enter the market, you can do it, which makes it a very, very great asset as a store of value because it doesn't matter who you are or how much capital you have, where you live, anybody can save in Bitcoin. So that's my long spiel on the housing crisis. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I don't think the answer is 50-year mortgages, but if you want to borrow money for 50 years and allow your payments to debase in real terms, be my guest. But the problem is, most people aren't buying real estate as an asset. People are buying real estate as a liability. It is shelter. They are living in it, right? And so when you say, oh, my house increased in value, no, it didn't. The dollar decreased in value. If you measure your house against other houses, nicer houses, if you measure it against something like gold or Bitcoin or the S&P 500, your house has not increased in value whatsoever. You are simply using the wrong denominator. You need to stop measuring the value in dollars, start measuring it in something else. And so, if you're looking for a similar investment to real estate, what's the alternative? Well, the alternative is, like I mentioned, Bitcoin, but additionally, Bitcoin mining has properties that are very similar to real estate. So, real estate investors, they want two things. They want a tax benefit through depreciation and they want cash flow. In real estate, that comes in the form of tenants paying rent. But with Bitcoin mining, you're getting Bitcoin cash flow every day from the Bitcoin network as you contribute hash to a mining pool. You're getting daily revenue, daily income in the form of BTC as you produce Bitcoin at a discount to the market price. Moreover, the tax benefits are much, much better with Bitcoin mining. You can leverage 100% bonus depreciation to write off the entire cost of your mining hardware in a single year. Let's come up with a hypothetical example. You have $1 million in business income for 2025. You purchase $1 million of Bitcoin miners in 2025. You depreciate them to zero for the tax year using bonus depreciation. Then you just offset that $1 million in income. There's a very real scenario, and check with your accountant first. I'm not a CPA. I cannot offer official tax advice, but there's a very real scenario where you could be paying $0 in income tax by leveraging this strategy. And not only that, you're getting Bitcoin at a discount by owning these miners. So you get depreciation, major tax benefits, and you get cash flow. Blockware makes this available to everyone. You don't have to build your own data center. You don't have to reconfigure the electrical outlets in your house to support Bitcoin miners. You don't have to deal with the heat, the noise, the maintenance, ordering the machines, any of that, setting up the mining pool, configuring your home internet networks to support this. You don't have to do any of that. You can simply use Blockware and our Bitcoin mining as a service. We handle all of it for you. We have data centers all across the country where we can host your machines. You can have machines at all at one data center. You can have them spread out across multiple different data centers. We've got all different types of machines. We source them for you. We have access to low cost power. We simply provide all of the information you need, revenue, cost, power consumption, hash rate, all of it in our dashboard on the Blockware Marketplace. One very simple UI. It's a very simple process, and you're able to get all of the benefits of Bitcoin mining. Hands down, it's the best solution for those looking to get into Bitcoin mining, which you absolutely should be because of the tax benefits and because of the ability to generate Bitcoin cash flow. So if you're interested in that, click the link in the description or go to mining.blockwaresolutions.com/info. Fill out the form on that landing page. Our team will be in contact with you. We'll give you all of the information you need, and you can set up a free consultation to have all of your questions answered and see if Bitcoin mining makes sense for you. Again, that is mining.blockwaresolutions.com/info.